I promise I won't turn into
Kara,
a ghost.
how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, except like I said, the
Not yet, anyway,
allergies.
right?
Yeah. So, um, my mom, we're like fostering some kittens. I'm allergic to cats. We already have a ton of
Oh,
cats, but now then we got four extra ones that used to be outdoors, and so all of that has just made everything just like get so out of whack. It's just been a time. So I apologize in advance. I'm gonna try to mute myself when I'm not talking because I'll be coughing and stuff like crazy. But I'm doing well otherwise, Becky. How are you?
no, I am hanging in there. We've been pretty busy lately, and we'll get to that later on in the podcast. But first, I want to introduce our guest tonight. We have Vincent with Arizona Ghost Tours. How are you tonight?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
And for all of our listeners, you want to introduce yourself and tell them what exactly it is that you do?
Sure. Basically, I started AZ Ghost Tours in 2017 to help historic locations raise funds. I came out here from New Jersey in 2008. I hooked up with a few people, found a lot of locations out here that are incredible because people do seem to take care of them. I'm from Jersey, and a lot of things are just knocked down and make way for a parking lot or a strip mall. So people kind of protect their history out here, which I really enjoyed. But a lot of them are in trouble because there's not much funding. So again, I started this in 2017, and year to date is almost 85,000 that we were able to donate from all the events we've done.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Kira, you are my eyes, don't forget. So any messages that pop up, you're going to need to read for us.
Of course, we got someone. Richard says hello from Ethereal Voices Paranormal from Pensacola, Florida. So,
Hey there.
hello, Richard.
Well, hello. Yeah, unfortunately, without my glasses on, every little thing that comes up is going to be the blur. So, Kira, you're my eyes for tonight. Like usual, though, there's nothing new about that, right? So, Vincent,
Yeah.
you said that you started Arizona Ghost Tours, and I know people are going to stop and they're going to be like, wait a minute. Becky does Tucson and she does Ghost Tours, and they're going to think, aren't they competitors? And my answer to that is no. We are not competitors. We do not compete against each other. In fact, I did one of your Paracons up in Oracle. I was a guest speaker. Kara and I actually both were guest speakers. And I told everyone at that Paracon, the other paranormal teams, all that I do not look at them as competition. No one is running the ghost tour I'm running except for nationwide people, which we don't like. But I don't look at you as a competitor, and I don't look at other paranormal teams as competitors. And I know you had sent a bio over to me earlier today, and you actually made a comment about competitors. And so I kind of want to touch base on that and talk a little bit more about that and how you feel about that.
Well, I'm in a market where we are at locations that are not going to be profitable for these nationwide chains to go in. I'm not going to mention who they are, but Tucson, Phoenix, people like you, I
Yeah.
know a lot of people in Phoenix that are running events. I've been doing events there for years, and now they're struggling. They're basically don't have the actual marketing power that these places do, and they're losing a lot. And unfortunately, it is the way it is. We do a few tours, primarily at two locations, but we work with 8 different historical societies. More of what we do are paranormal investigations, public investigations. So we're kind of a little bit different than the average tour company. And most of our tours are in buildings. We take a full facility tour, not just a walking tour like most tour companies are. So we're a little bit different, a little bit of a hybrid.
Right. And you did mention the nationwide tours, which, yes, we don't mention who they are, but I do know that they are affecting a lot of companies and a lot of tours. And, like you said, we don't have the type of marketing that they do. And unfortunately, they use AI for a lot of the stuff, and we don't. But I understand why some teams, I guess, kind of get a property and hold on to it and don't want to share it and are competitive in that way. But I don't like to be competitive in that way. Like, I have sole entrance, I guess you can say, to JoJo's here in Tucson. And if anyone comes to Tucson and asks JoJo's about the hauntings, they're going to send them to me. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to tell them, no, I'm not going to share a story. That doesn't mean I'm not going to, go with them and let them in. But I know there are some people that are like that. And I do understand that some people are worried about that nationwide competition. And that might be some of the reason. But I think some of the reason is also everyone seems to be out for that fame, that, 15 minutes of fame. And I don't understand why people are like that, but I'm not like that. And when you had asked for me to attend your Paracon, I was very thankful that you had, talked to me and, let me be there. And I loved meeting you and I loved meeting the other teams and I love what it is that you do. And I know that you raised money for these locations and you work with a couple in particular. And I think that's great. And I admire, things like that. And I hate to think that, nationwide tours would take stuff like that away from us.
They may certain things, but as far as our concern, they're not going to even come close. We do have a lot of different teams from the United States. They come in. We're sort of hosts at some of these locations. There are other people that run events at these locations, so we don't own them. We don't pay the taxes, So a lot of people, where they're protective of these locations, unless you physically own it and you are financially responsible for it, you really don't have a right to not allow anybody else to come in. But we are brought in to host a lot of teams that do come to the Valley. I have one guy from Wisconsin. He comes in every 6 months or so, and he does 1 or 2 places. And then he goes back and he starts all over. He does them all over again. So it's enjoyable to have other people come in, and we love sharing the stories, the things that have happened, on our investigations with them, because that's what we're all trying to do. There's one purpose we're doing this for is to learn about the unknown, what happens after we pass. So.
Right, exactly. And I know through your bio, you were talking about history and research. And that's where Kira comes in, because she is our historian and that is what she shines in. That's her thing. So I'm sure she could, talk to you all night about that alone. Couldn't you, Kira?
Oh, yeah. Don't get me started.
History and paranormal, they're completely tied together.
Yes.
There's no way to get around that. So
yeah,
it's very important that you know your historical facts and how it relates to where you are.
Yeah, and like Becky and I, we did that, presentation at the Oracle Paracon about history and the paranormal, and it was like so hard to say. It's like I could go on and keep going because it's like I said, they go hand in hand. Like they're both so equally like important to each other.
Well, I hope you guys had a good time down there. We're going to try our next one is going to be not this November down at Acadia, but the following November. So we might try to do like a tie on to the Day of Dead type of thing. But we were competing with someone else down the street that was doing a large, I don't know, some type of flea market or market or something. So we lost a lot of people to that. But, when we do events in locations like down in your area, we want local people. That's why we had you guys on, because it makes no sense for me to go down there and talk about things that are not part of that community.
Right. And I know you have other, things coming up too. And I know you had invited us to one, I want to say it is in Superstition.
Yeah, Superstition.
Is that the one in October? But unfortunately we had to turn that down, which we really want to go there and we really want to investigate and be a part of that. But we already have a prior commitment on the same day. We're working with the Historical Society here in Tucson, and we do that once a year and we help them out. So I couldn't, not do that. That's our commitment every year to them. So
yeah, we have 6 of them that were committed. Every October, we have these dates already set, even for next October, 2027. So yeah, we do the same type of thing. But the Superstition Mountain Museum, the Lost Dutchman, it's a full day where similar to what we did in Oracle, we're going to have speakers during the day. We're going to run tours and we're going to run paranormal investigations for them. And it is another fundraiser. We had about 40 vendors there last year, so hopefully we can maybe pick up a few more. But it's very, very successful. We had a lot of coverage. Coverage makes a big difference. Some of the TV shows came down. We had a couple of networks that were there. So that really does help. For your events, if you can get them to come out and be there, or at least pick up a piece on it, it's definitely very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. I've only done one Paracon. I've thought about doing more, but my issue is trying to get the money together, I guess, to hold one. Because we did like a major one with Fox Theater,
Hmm.
and we brought in Chris Williams from Ghost Hunters. We brought her down, and I thought about doing another one. I want to do another one, but right now my focus is on my promotion on my first book and working on my second book. So until I kind of get that done and under my belt, I'm not worried about a Paracon just yet. But I love being involved in different Paracons. Like we usually go to like the Tucson Comic Con, and we usually do a panel there. And we're actually going to, what's that one in August, Kira? The
It's
Terror.
sponsored by Terror Trader up in
Okay,
Chandler,
and
so it's gonna be in Mesa.
yeah,
Right.
and we're doing that
Right.
one. So, I mean, we love doing them, and I would love to put one on. So hopefully, it'll keep happening. Hopefully, we'll still be parts of them, and hopefully, we'll, do our own one day. But I love doing that. I love coming together as a community. I love hearing what other people have to say. It's just a lot of fun to me. It's just a lot of fun, and I love doing it. So,
Good. Yeah, keep
yeah,
at it. It's enjoyable for sure,
yeah,
but a lot of work. Definitely a lot of work. And as far as you're talking about talent, we sort of strayed away from getting any mainstreams because we're not going to pay somebody $2,000. We can take that $2,000 and hand it right over to Historical Society. So a
yeah,
lot of it is about, again, community, local teams. We did have a couple people come out our last Paracon, um, which were more friends that were just cover our expenses. We would love to come out. So we had Rick McCollum and God, what the hell's her name? Jesus, it'll come to me. Medium. She was on Ghost Adventures a couple times. God, 67. Yeah, it's really kicking in here. Yeah. Anyhow, they were gracious enough to come out just for expense. So
right, yeah,
it was that way. She actually came out in January at the Superstition Mountain Museum. She was in town. She contacted me. She wanted to do some additional stuff while she was there, and I mentioned the Superstition when she was here for the PowerCon. She says, "Is there any way we can do something up there?" So we ended up doing. She did some group readings, and we had an investigation with her, and we made about $1,200 for the museum. So that was a good night.
I apologize. I did not silence my phone there.
And then the
Yeah,
other room.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, that I will say that the talent is very expensive to get. She was the only one that we paid for. All the others, they came down and they did it, out of the kindness of their heart and
Mm.
everything. But it is very expensive. I'm not sure if I would take that route again. I may just, if I do it, stick with, like local or something because yeah, it's pricey to bring out the celebrities, and I don't think people realize how pricey it can get.
Yeah. Well, with Chris, she was through. Well, I forgot what the town agent was, and she lives right here in kind of our backyard. She's like, yeah, I'm under contract. You have to go through so and so, and $2,400. I'm like, no, it's
Yeah,
not happening. So,
yeah, yeah, because she's up in the Phoenix area, so yeah,
yeah.
she's in our neighborhood. But for other celebrities, which I don't understand, I don't know if other people understand that you have to not only pay for the celebrity come out, but you also have to pay for their flight. You have to pay for their food. I mean, you have to pay for basically everything
Right.
for them. So it's the fee on top of all the other stuff that you have to pay,
Mhm.
which is one of the main reasons we did go with Chris because then it was only like having to pay for gas. It wasn't a plane.
Right.
But yeah, that can get pretty pricey. So to have actual celebrities at your Paracon can run up.
Well, you know who's going to pay for that? The guest.
Yeah,
You can't charge $40, investigation, because you got to charge 100 or $75 or $80 to afford to pay for them. So
yeah,
they're the ones that it's on their back, not ours. So
yeah,
it's a shame to do that. But people like the local, a lot of local teams we had help out. They were like when you guys came to ours, there wasn't any celebrities there. We had a lot of people that do some of our normal events. It's just a really good time, and people like coming to those things,
right.
and we're supporting the community. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
Community center there,
exactly.
they made money. Oracle Historical Society, we got them, I think, $1,100
Oh,
for that.
nice.
So it was a small, low key, but it was well done. We did thankfully make some money, so that's good for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always nice to help out, historical places that put the money back into the buildings to keep them up and running and not
Yeah.
falling apart.
Where else can you go on a ghost hunt or paranormal investigation, spend 30, 40, $50 and know that you donated it to the location? You're not making somebody fat in their wallet. All these like these national people that are around making money doing stuff or paying $200, having 30 people in their one company, Haunted Rooms. Okay, a company called Haunted Rooms. They were down at Acadia Ranch, and a woman
I've
that I
heard of
know,
them.
well, one I know worked uh, on that event for them. She got paid $250 to run it for them. Now you've been to Acadia Ranch; it's 1,100 square feet, roughly. Kind of like 4 bedrooms, a main room, a hallway, and a back room.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's small.
imagine 25 people in that place
Yeah.
at
Oh, wow.
$129 each.
Oh, wow.
Guess they
Wow.
donated $300 to the ranch. They paid the ranch $300. So how much did they walk away with?
Oh,
That's
geez.
crap in my book. That's disgusting. But
Yeah.
because they got that, that social push and the advertising dollars, they sold it out 25 people, and they probably would have sold 30 if they could figure out how to fit them in there. So it's different. People have to be educated. Take a look at who's running the events and where the money is going to. Just
Hmm.
like donations, Red Cross, yeah, it's great. They help out things, but what, 9% of it actually goes to the help? Everything is, putting $500,000 worth of paintings in the building. It's I'm not down on the Red Cross, but all companies like that, they have all these expenses, and then this little bit goes through. Ours, the entire thing goes to them. I pay for my gas, like my time, 12 to 16 hour days. It's all donated. All my team, the people that help out, they're all there. You were there when you did our event. You were there at your own cost. It cost you to get over there. You had. Luckily, you were a speaker, but some people, you had to pay the $20 for the actual booth.
Hmm.
So it was a lot of expense to make it successful for individual people, and
Right.
you got to realize that. So, folks, when you're out there, look at whoever you're thinking about going on an event, and really see what it's all about. Find out who the people are that are running it and where the money is going. It's great. We're in the United States. Let's make money. Got it. But there are other people, like certain people like us, that are actually working to keep these places there for those people to come in and make money. So just pay attention to who's running events.
Oh yeah, I preach that so much, especially when it comes to the local ghost tour companies, because I know a lot of owners for small ghost tours like my own, and they have these nationwide chains that have moved in, and they're claiming that they're the best tour and da 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 da, and they're taking their material. And I always warn people, I'm like, look at what you're booking. Do your research. I am such a big preacher when it comes to that, because of the fact that I see companies like mine and companies like these other little tour
Hmm.
companies suffering. And, yes, the tour earns us money, but at the same time, like for me, a lot of what I earn goes back into my team.
Yeah, right.
It's like, do you know how expensive? Well, I know but you know how expensive equipment is? Do you know
Just
how expensive
batteries.
gas is? We have to pay to get to these locations. We have to pay to, do things. And, so a lot of what I earn is going back into my team, and a lot of times we're paying for investigations, so we're paying whatever place there is, and they take that money to restore their building. So it's just this never ending thing, and when you're doing like these nationwide tours, it's literally just about money to them. It's
It
nothing more
is.
than
And most
oh,
of
it's
those
a
tour
dollar in
companies
my
aren't,
pocket.
are not the same tour people that are running them. It's very short lived. They get tired of doing it, or like this one constantly cancels out on the jail that I do. I'm like, why are you even bothering to allow
Mhm.
them to be in there? They cancel out the week before. In the meantime, you could have probably made some money off of that, or at least get a deposit, non-refundable deposit. But they don't want to do that because they don't want to alienate people.
Right.
If they're not making enough of money, make it worthwhile for them, they cancel out. What about the people that did pay for the tickets? They're screwed now. So a lot of it is really not right that's out there. And podcasts like this is why I do it, just to kind of let people realize what is going on in there. I mean, look a little bit past that first layer. Yeah, it looks great. The website looks great. Facebook page is great. Yeah, that's wonderful. Oh, they got all these great reviews. What's it all about?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. That is something that I've noticed a lot of people in this field are stepping up and saying, pay attention to what you're doing, because of the fact that it's getting, I guess I want to say, kind of ridiculous with these companies taking over. And, the ghost stuff has become so mainstream now that everyone wants to put their little feet in the, pond and, do it with us. And there's just some companies and some people that really don't need to be.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
Yeah. Just like I've seen some, I don't even want to call them paranormal teams, because they're not really paranormal teams. They're just people that get together and go do this. And it amazes me, because they'll go out and they'll do an investigation and they're using equipment that they know nothing about, and they call everything a ghost.
Paranormal, yeah.
Yeah, and I sit there and I want to just scream, I'm like, no, stop that.
Yeah, we had a situation a few years back. I was called in by a woman. The husband thought they had paranormal activity. They were actually not sleeping together. She was sleeping on a couch because this guy was just beside himself, getting up in the middle of the night, recording, asking who's here. So supposedly they brought a team in, and they were using apps, and they asked, what is here with us? And the guy was there, and it said demon. Okay, so here this guy flips it. They are now
poor dude.
She brought us in to kind of work with him, and he didn't want to hear anything. Now this team, I heard it said demon. It's an app. It's entertainment. You can't take that, realistically. It's you just can't.
Yeah.
He didn't want nothing to do with it. And unfortunately, now they're divorced because somebody wants to be ghost hunter and go, oh, we're going to somebody's house. They post on Facebook, we're investigating blah, blah, blah tonight. Look at us. You just ruined that family. Do you realize what you did? People just don't understand that aspect of it. I've been doing this for a long time as a paranormal investigator, to the point now, unless it's really important, I do not go on investigations anymore. We'll do phone consultations with people, but we will physically not go. We went to one place a few years back. We roll up to the location, and there's 8 people on the lawn. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? So we finally find the client, what are these people all doing here? Oh, they want to ghost hunt with you tonight. So we turned around, we got in our car, we went back. So, the sensationalism that is on television, even when you go someplace and you tell them there's nothing there, hey, granted, you're there for 6 hours, they live there. Okay. Nothing happened during our watch, but 99.999% of the time, it's nothing paranormal. People do not want to hear that. I got a guy contact me the other day. He goes, oh, you got to see all these pictures. Out of all these spirits, all these orbs. I'm like,
I hate that. that is my number one thing.
He got pissed.
People send me pictures of orbs, and I'm like, especially here in Arizona, what are we? Dirt.
Yes, exactly.
Bugs, and it's a shame, but people, because of television, people do not want to listen. I'm like, look, I've been doing it for a long time. I'm not talking out of my ass.
Right.
No, you're an idiot. You don't know. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. Enjoy your spirits. Have a good day. And I hung up. What am I going to do? Sit there and argue with? Hey, great. Yeah, it's a ghost. Knock yourself out. Nothing you can do about it but move. All right. What do you want? So yeah, it gets a little frustrating, unfortunately. And for me, it's a pro and a con. Because of television, I do have a store. We sell equipment, so that helps fund what we do. So that's great. People see it on TV, they want to buy it. People see stuff on TV, they want to come and investigate it, they want to try a ghost hunt. So yeah, it's a plus, and it was a lot of plus and a little negative. Now it's more negative and somewhat of a plus with everything that's going on. Some of these shows is just the footage of the show. I'm not going to mention which one it is, but it's all things that were caught on a camera, and half of it is so grainy you can't even tell what you're looking at. It's tough. Teams. Everybody wants to be famous, like we were saying before.
Yeah.
oh, we're dropping a new episode this week. And really, an episode? What are you, a television show? That's what it's about for these people.
Yeah.
The whole idea of this business is to help people. That's what happened, in 1978, my first case. It's about helping people. And we didn't run around with gadgets and gear. It was one to one on somebody, letting them have a sounding board. Hey, this is what I experienced. Okay, I had something similar. And you talk them through and you kind of give them a little bit of direction. You're not crazy. It's happened to me. Not
Sure.
the way it is, now. It's just
Yeah.
too sensationalized. So it's tough. It really is tough.
Yeah. When I started this company, I've been doing this for 13 years, not as long as you, but for 13 years. So longer than some people. But when I started, we would take every single residential case that came our way. Like we
Yeah.
wouldn't turn anyone down. And we were going like, gosh, weekly, it felt like, to these cases. And 90, probably 8% of them, it was nothing. We found nothing. Like we had like cases where, they were claiming that things were moving off the counter, like falling off the counter. Turns out they had rodent problems. We had a hoarder case, and it was like, you could see all kinds of stuff because you can't see anything beyond this, and it got to where we were getting tired. So we had to start weeding them out. And so I put together like a residential form, and anyone who contacted me from a residential case needed to fill out this form. And it's asking in-depth questions about what they're experiencing, who else has experienced it. And one of the questions we ask is, do you watch paranormal shows or horror shows? And if so, what do you watch? And I will tell you right now, 100% of these people who will contact us and say that they have a demon in their house watches one show in
Hmm.
particular.
Hmm.
Or they're possessed. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
100% of them. There's never a doubt when it comes to that. Whenever I get a form saying, I'm possessed or I have a demon, they always watch this one show.
Forget about the cost of getting there and back. Forget, about being there for 6 hours and say the hour round trip to get back and forth. But what about all those cameras, all those audio recorders that you listen to? You're talking about another 120 hours worth of viewing time. And half these people out there, they don't review anything. They're just there for the here and now. A REM
Yes.
pod goes off. Well, there's 9 reasons why a REM pod would go off.
Hmm.
The app, yeah, demon. There's more to it than just stuff that's happening to equipment, and it's nuts. We just can't do them that much anymore.
Right.
It's rare that we roll. We do listen to people. We have an intake form. We have the same type of questions. What's the first place you go to when you go to somebody's home? Medicine cabinet. We ask on the form what medication you're taking, and that's an intimate
Mhm.
personal question, but it's part of what we do. We're part
Yeah.
psychiatrists, we're part detectives, and we're part doctors. You go in, you see what's there, you Google it, find out what it is. You walk in, there's a handle of scotch on the counter, and they're taking some other stuff that should not be mixing. They're half self-medicating, so who knows what the hell
Hmm.
going on with them? But those are things you kind of need to know. So
Yes.
so that makes it very, very difficult. And that's where you can't let anybody in your house just because somebody's got a website or they're ghost hunters or on Facebook. You got to be careful who you're letting in.
Yes.
We have
Exactly.
insurance.
Exactly.
We're vetted. We've done a lot over the years for our reputation, and it's very expensive to do it the way we do it. But it's tough out there. It really is.
Yeah. And I love what you said about, the medication and the alcohol and things like that, because, I don't know if people realize there are medications that will cause you to, have
Over the
those
counter stuff.
paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
And, the fact that you have to be careful on whose house you go into also. They got to be careful on who they let in, but we also need
Yeah,
to be
be
careful.
careful. Yeah, because you have no idea what you're walking into.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
idea. How the relationship, the dynamics of the family. What type of things that happen. Did the husband get fired? Is there a lot of negativity there, which a lot of times brings in some type of activity because it's pretty much self-generated. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's very, very difficult. A lot of people don't realize the whole thing about paranormal investigating and what this field really is all about. And like I said, for the past 40 something years, it's definitely changed big time.
Oh yeah. And what you were saying about, some people are just in it for the ghost hunting. They don't review any type of evidence. They go in there and they're using those phone apps, which are so generic.
Yeah.
And, they're using, maybe they do have a REM pod or a K2 or what have you, but they don't understand the equipment. And that's one thing I talk about in my book is I say you need to know your equipment, because things will set the stuff off. A REM pod will go off if you're using a walkie-talkie. A K2 will go off around, a refrigerator, a microwave, your Wi-Fi, your modem, and some people aren't understanding these things, going into these poor residential cases or other, places, and they take their K2 up to a, working refrigerator or whatever and go, oh my God, your house is haunted. And they're freaking out people.
Yeah.
Without actually doing their research,
You don't go through the house, and you can be standing in one room and you go towards the wall and you'll get a reaction to an EM meter, but what's on the other side of the wall? There might be a freezer in there. Maybe it's in the garage. Yeah. Where's Cox cable coming in? We did one investigation. She had actually ashes up on her shelf. And we walked over by there, and she was saying she senses a lot in her room. Her husband has 6 months prior or whatever. And we're getting a lot of activity off the meters. Like, all right, something's not right. Evidence has to support evidence. Because you got wonderful. If you got that, put them two together and a couple other personal experiences, maybe there's something. But we went outside to look around. Sure enough, right there is where Cox was coming in, and that's what we were picking up. So, and someone is not going to bother looking for that, because why should we go and try to disprove something? Why don't we just say it's paranormal? Shoot our video, put it on Facebook, and get 5,000 likes. Oh, look at us, we're wonderful.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Sounds like a big session, folks. Sorry we got on this, but
yeah, no, because I completely understand, because I had a case to where she claimed to have a portal in her closet because they felt so uneasy and all that stuff. And you open up the closet and there's the electric box to the whole place, and it's like, that explains it.
Yep.
Yeah, we had one. They were having issues in their bedroom, so we went in. We did a sweep with actually used the K2, because that's the easiest thing to find electrical, because it's just not shielded in any way, shape, or form. But we walked into the bedroom, and there's a huge hits going on there. So I look on one side of the bed, they had an electrical heater. On the other side of the bed is where they actually had their router. So I'm like, look, why don't you try doing this? Either put your bed in another room, or put at least a headboard on this wall away from the router. That solved their problem. But people are not going to go. We not that we're trying to debunk it, but we're trying to figure out rational reasons why.
Yeah.
Also, where people, you get to calm them down that no, there is nothing on your house. Do not have to be worried. You don't have to wake up in the middle of the night just because you heard a creak, or that everything is changing. There's different pressures in there. The sun goes down, everything creaks. And it's not paranormal, and you get people, you'd be able to relieve them. So even a false positive, we're going to have a priest come in. So they contact their local, because someone came in and threw holy water around. Oh, yeah, problem solved. Is it really solved? You are solved. There was nothing there in the first place, but in your head, your activity ceased because you have some atonement and blessing. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things now to where I have to warn everyone to, any teams out there, be careful of what you're walking into, and anyone calling in a team, be careful on what team you're calling in. It's a two-way street, and if you are just in there for ghost hunting, is what I like to call it, then go on a ghost hunt. Go meet Vincent, go do one of his things, come on one of my things, do that. Don't go into, someone's house and freak them out just because you want to try your hand at it,
Yes.
Free ghost hunting. So, they'll go to and do that versus paying for something. And I get it. I mean, gas, thank God it's going down, but up here in the Phoenix area, we were hitting $5. And most of the stuff that we do from our locale is roughly, 2 hours away, hour and a half away. So, you're talking about $40 in gas. Then people, if they come up to our events, we're done usually around midnight, A lot of them aren't going to drive home, so then they have a hotel, and then they got to deal with food. So a night for two people, all of a sudden that $100 ghost hunting fees for the two of them became a $400 night between everything. You know,
Yeah.
so it's very expensive, and I understand why people are going to go ghost hunt in someone's house because it is free, but just really be careful. Be careful on yourself, safety wise, because you don't. Again, you don't know what you're going in. If you remember the people that were there, U.A.P.P.D. That was the
No.
detectives that were. They used to be police,
Oh,
and then
okay. Yes. Yes.
okay.
Okay.
So basically, I sat down with them, and the amount of stuff that they told me, the situations that they walked into. I mean, thank God they were police and they were armed because they were attacked by so many different people going on all sorts of calls, and we're no different. We are
Right.
at the mercy. Once we walk in that door, you have no idea what's behind it.
All right.
Especially today, with again talking about the medications and self medicating.
Oh
So
yeah.
anybody out there, just three things: please be careful. Think about what you're doing when you go to someone's house, what you might say, and what that might do to their family, etc. And enjoy yourself. I mean, don't not do it, but just kind of be cautious. That's all.
Right. So before we let you go tonight, I want to make sure people know where to find you, talk about your upcoming events, all that stuff. So I'm going to kind of hand it over to you so you can tell us about your upcoming events, where to buy tickets, where to find you, and all that stuff.
Okay. The easiest thing is go to azghosttours.com. Another one is theparanormalgroup.org. The paranormal group is basically an entity that we started to put everything under because right now we got 6 websites. It gets a little expensive. It gets a little tough to try to keep up on all those. So we're trying to get everything funneled into one. But we do have a store, Ghost Hunters Outlet. Um, I'm an investigator. I have to buy gear. Yes, we got the outlet back in 2013 because I mean we were getting killed with just shipping charges. I know it costs $10 to ship an item. Why am I paying $20 for this? Great, you're in business. You have to make money, but don't take it on my back. So when we started the store, we wanted to give investigators a place to buy something at certain costs. We can't sell certain things at a discount. It's called maps. So we have to sell, say, a spare box is $94.60. That's what we have to sell it for. But when you come on to our Ghost Hunter outlet site, it's an automatic 10% off. So if you put that spirit box in your cart, when you go to check out, you're saving $99.46 automatically. You don't have to put codes in. There's no special holiday thing, discount codes. It's automatic. It's all the time. If you buy $199 worth of gear, it's all going to ship free. So, if you're a team starting out or you want to replace some of your older stuff, you can stop at our store, probably save yourself 50, $60 plus free shipping. That's what we do. That's how we can help other teams. With the tour company, everything we do, whether it's a paranormal investigation, it's a tour, even just our history tours, it's all donated to the locations. Coming up this fall, we do have one event at Superstition Mountain Lost Dutchman Museum. That is October 17th. We're going to have free speakers all day long. There's going to be tons of vendors to enjoy. At night, we're going to do a tour, and then we're going to follow that up with a paranormal investigation. We break up into 4 teams of 6. And the property is huge. It's like 15 acres, and there's about 12 buildings that we go in and out of. So it's a really good time. It helps that location out. We work with the Orpheum Theater the last 2 Sundays of October. It's a flashlight investigation, and we work with them those nights because Sundays are kind of light. And that is a lot of fun because the place will not allow paranormal investigations. This is the only time you can actually do it. And it's a public structured one. You're not going to be able to roam around on your own. So just keep that in your mind. Our investigations, our ghost hunts, when we do the public ones, you have 2 choices. You can come, and if you want to be guided and work with us, we'll do EVP sessions or anything else with you. But the way we work it, if you want to be on your own or you have experience or your team, we'll see you back here at midnight. And you just go in and enjoy yourself. And we run a couple experiments with them. So I'm trying to look at everything through my eyes. what I would want to do. Am I going to want to go on someplace with 25 people and be, have somebody laughing in this room and, talking loud in that room, and all my evidence is being destroyed? No, I want to be able to have a real type of investigation. That's what we offer. That's how we do it. So azghoststories.com for gear, Ghost Hunters Outlet, and you can try the paranormalgroup.org.
Okay. Well, thank
Oh,
you so much.
I was gonna say Mercedes has been commenting. Sorry I didn't get to you before, Mercedes, but she's just like the Superstition
Oh,
Mountain event
hey,
sounds
Mercedes.
awesome, and she's just saying this is a great
Yeah.
conversation. Thanks for listening, Mercedes.
See you October.
Yeah, she gets to go, but yeah,
I have
that's
our
all right. Maybe next time. Maybe next time.
for us, October is like Ghostober. Everybody we get
Yeah.
contacted, but people we never heard of, they want to go and have an event at their place. I'm like, it's October.
Yeah, I know.
Contact me in July. We're glad to help you out.
Yeah.
But that's when all the even the TV and a lot of the newspapers and all, they're all contacting us during that time. So
Oh,
we,
yeah.
we take it when it comes in, and we try to plug as best we can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Vincent. We appreciate you being on tonight.
All right.
Uh, Everyone, look him up, do one of his ghost tours. You'll have an awesome time. And thank you for your time tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. You have a good night, everybody. Thanks
All
so much.
right. Have a good night.
All
Bye.
right. Bye bye.
All right, Kira. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit tonight because we've just had so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, First off, I want to say happy belated Father's Day to all the dads out there. I know that was yesterday, but happy Father's Day, y'all. And we are only having one show in July
Mm-hmm.
because I have a much wanted vacation coming up in July.
Yay.
And we have investigations lined up. So we just, some stuff had to give for July. So we only have one show, and that comes after 4th of July. So everyone, definitely have a happy 4th of July and have a safe one.
Mm-hmm.
250 years for America.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is, yeah. No wonder we're so haunted, huh?
Yeah.
Other countries go even further back, but yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, we go further back too, but as America,
Yeah.
250. But yeah, so we've had a lot going on, as I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a lot coming up. I know we already have some things in the books. We have that terror market panel,
Mm-hmm.
Comic-Con.
Yep.
I'm a blank on what it's actually called, but it's up in Mesa on August 22nd. I do know that.
Yes.
We're doing a panel there. We have a couple investigations coming up for the book. So we got, I think, 3 in the books right now, and I'm working on more. We're waiting to hear if we get approved for another panel. We do have our regular ghost tours. We have, our ghost hunts. We do have that special event in October, also on the 17th, with the Historical Society here in town. Tamara goes way out on all of her stuff. She's so creative. I swear, she is like the most creative person. She also does those monthly markets of Tucson Terror and Oddities markets, which we have been participating in. But unfortunately, we cannot do her July market because of the fact that, we have everything else going on. But yeah, we've had a lot on our plate. We finished up 3 investigations for the book. I think we already have 3 in the
Yeah, I'm
book.
trying. Yeah, I think it's 3. Yeah.
So we've had some very awesome ones, and I don't want to name names yet. I want to give it time to, have us go over everything and have us look at everything. But I know the one that you were with me on last Saturday,
Yes.
the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
We had personal experiences while we were there.
Yeah.
So it's not just, going through the review, but we actually had personal experiences.
And it was similar
You,
things too. So
yeah,
it's like it matches up. We were in way different spots too.
yeah, exactly. And you, myself, and Aubrey, I know all saw shadows for sure.
Mhm.
May thought she saw something.
Mhm.
So it was definitely, I was very excited to get into this location, and it definitely
Mhm.
did not disappoint. I was
Yes.
very happy.
Like the
There's
fact that it
been,
was very hot without
yes, it was
AC.
very
We were
hot
very
though.
sweaty.
Yes. Personal note, I am taking fans to every location now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we asked for that ourselves though, because
Yeah.
we asked for the air and stuff to be turned off because of contamination issues. So like personal fans won't be as contaminated as, hearing the clicks and everything from an air
Yeah.
conditioning
True.
clicking on and off. But yeah, I was not disappointed. There had been rumors going around this place for a while. I was very happy that they agreed to be, in the book and let us out there, and it did not disappoint. I am so impressed. We had a lot to review, a lot of timestamps that we had to
Mhm.
go over. I finished mine today. And that's something else that people, need to know about us is, we do take the time to review, and we don't influence each other on what, we experience. So everything I'm listening to in my personal EVPs, I'm not telling you all what I hear, just like you guys don't tell me what you hear. And, we review it, and, we all give our own input on it, and then we come together and see what all matches. This way we have a better opportunity of knowing what's what, and, not being influenced, because as
Yes.
soon as you tell someone, oh, I hear get out, everyone's hearing get
Yep.
out.
Yep.
So we don't do that. We just write down the timestamps, and we're like, here, listen here, tell me what you hear. So that is one thing we do. And I'm really excited to get these back at the end of the week to see what matches up and who heard what. And it will all go in my book. I'm so excited. And we started doing new forms to where, for the book, we're going to have, this book's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be kind of the same as the first one on paranormal, but it's also going to be a little bit different because we are keeping track of like our first initial thoughts, personal experiences. We are paying attention to things like, moon setting, the weather. We want to try to see if this stuff truly does affect it, like people claim. So, we're keeping track of things like this for this book. So it's going to go a little bit more in depth, and we're going to tell more of the ghost stories. And then, of course, our evidence and our personal, stuff. So that's going to be what's different. The fact that we're going more into depth, and we're going to, talk more about the stories,
Yep.
that, we don't know if they're true or false or whatever. Last time we stuck with basically just facts.
Yeah.
And this time we're going to go a little bit more into that, but we still want to put our facts. So if you have a location or know of any location that is wanting to, be in a book, we will help, advertise you. We will help get, the word out there. We will put you in a book. We'll, put you on social media. Give us, about a month or two though, because we don't want to put everything out there until we have, some of our evidence. And of course, we're not going to give it all away because we're going to want you to read the book. But we want to be able to personally investigate it because we want to see if we can back up some of these ghost stories. And I know the one from this past weekend, or not this past weekend, the 13th, we are able to back up some of those stories because we saw shadows ourselves. And that was one of the stories, is that people would see, the shadows. So, being able to back that up is awesome. And I love that. And we'll be able to include that, in our book. And even if we go to a place and we don't get the evidence, we're going to be honest about it. We're going to put, hey, we
Yeah.
got to investigate, but, unfortunately, we didn't get the evidence. But that doesn't mean it's, not haunted, because we're
Yes.
only there for, 4 to 6 hours. So we're not there all the time. Maybe they just didn't want to communicate with us,
Yeah, who knows? It's kind of almost like we're doing like case files where I can like see it in my head, like a whole. It's like a case file spread. Like here's the information. Here's the weather, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
definitely be interesting.
Yeah. So this book's, like I said, it's going to go more in depth. I'm really looking forward to writing it, but we do need more locations. We definitely need more locations. I want to get as many as possible in there that we can. And we do have, 3 already. We have 3 coming up. I'm hoping to book more. We've had some people interested. Some people I need to go and bug again because they mentioned, being interested, but then they kind of disappeared. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really good. In the meantime, though, they can pick up my first book, I'm Paranormal. You can get that on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. I'm proud of it. You did a lot of work in there too with the history, and it's the first time we've done anything like this. So I think it turned out pretty good for the first time. I've gotten really good reviews. People have said that they really enjoyed it, which makes me very proud that we
Yeah.
finally took that step. Well, I finally broke down and said, "Fine, let's do it," because I was so nervous about it.
Yes, I know.
I was so nervous. You and May saw, because every time I would even look at the book, I would be like, I need to change this. I need to change that. And I finally said, I'm not looking at it anymore. But then, actually getting it out there, I was so scared to do it. And everyone was just like, just do it. And I'm like, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah, exactly.
But we did welcome, like I said earlier, some team members back too. Because of this book, I knew we would need extra help. And I know people don't always have the time to do this full time because, doing this full time, it is a lot of work with, reviews and every investigation. So we brought back some part time people. But right now, our full time team members are, myself and you, and May, who has been here since day one. She has never left my side. And then we have Jen and my daughter, Aubrey. And I guess I don't know if we want to consider Dave full time or part time. He's done everything with us so far.
Yeah.
He's my co-host for the podcast. So he's kind of in between part time and full time, but he's the cameraman. So the only thing he reviews is all of his camera stuff. He doesn't do all the other stuff.
Yeah.
And then we brought back Jennifer and Audrey, who used to be old team members back in the day. So we have a nice little team together. I love that we're all together. I can't wait for us to be able to do like one location together. That hasn't happened yet, but I'm looking forward to that day to having the whole team together. But we got a lot of fun things coming up. I know it's going to be a lot of stress, but a lot of fun. And, to find out more about us, go to TucsonGhostCompany.com. And you can see what we're doing. If you know of anywhere that we should investigate, let us know. And like we said earlier, please look into any paranormal team. Please look into the tours you're doing. Always support local. Always be aware. Don't let just anybody into your house. That's not safe. But, we got good things coming up. We're thankful for the support. We're thankful we're still here. We're going to be celebrating 13 years.
Wow. 13 years. That's a big milestone, Becky.
Yeah, 13 years this fall. So we're going to be doing like a big press release and everything that we're celebrating our 13 years. It's a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. All right, Kira. Well, it is about that there time. So I'm going to let you go ahead and wrap up what you want to say.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Oh my gosh, my voice is going out.
Oh, no.
Thanks for listening. Have a great night. And as always, stay spooky.
And Kira, I hope your allergies start getting better for you. Everyone out there, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Vincent, for coming on from Arizona Ghost Tour. Thanks to our producer, Stan, for always putting up with us and putting us on the air. To all of the listeners, again, TucsonGhostCompany.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on social media. And you can find myself on TikTok along with the Facebook and Instagram. And that's where you can find us the most, and you can find out how to get a hold of us. But our main website is TucsonGhostCompany.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Remember, in July, we will only have one show, and that'll be the first part of July after the 4th of July. So have a happy, safe 4th of July. And until the next time, remember, you are never truly alone.